Okay, just taking another look at my model for COVID-19 in Australia. So we're sitting here on the 27th of March. Yesterday, my prediction was 2,766 people affected. In fact, it was 2,799. The day before, 2,305. So that was 2% off. Yesterday I was 1% off. 2 days ago, 2% off, 1% off. It's quite accurately tracking the real numbers. So yesterday, the official deaths from COVID in Australia was 9, and I was also predicting practically 9, 8.6. Today it'll be about 10. Tomorrow, 12, 13, 14, and that's how. And this is the people affected. That will mirror quite closely the numbers we're getting officially from the official figures, and that's just because I'm plotting the same transmission rate as we're getting in Italy and China. The same data applies here, so it's proving very accurate. Just that the spread rate at 0.2 is holding true over here. Now, soon the social measures will kick in. So you can see here, this column has the spread rate, and the real one I'm using is this one, which is taking into effect a combination of the social measures like social distancing, etc., and the crowd immunity or herd immunity. So there's a bit of a lag here, so you can see it's using from 15 days ago. So if we implemented some sort of change in behavior across the country, it would take 15 days to affect us today. So here you can see this is how it'll be tomorrow up until the 1st of March. So for example, I say on the 1st of March I'm predicting a more heavy restrictions in lockdown that will be drastic and will have a 50% effect, but that won't come into account. Like, that behavioral change won't come into effect until here. So that's the effect over here. So that's the herd immunity over here. You can start seeing the numbers. So from this model you can start making some predictions. So one, this is how it's going to track down in Australia. This is the curve. Here's the days, right? So days since the 1st of March is the way I'm calculating. You can see up here, day 1 is the 1st of March. We're in day 27 at the moment, being the 27th of March. And you can just count the days from there. So you can see we're day 27. So we're way down here somewhere in this part of the curve. You can't even see it. And it'll start ramping up. This is people affected. 700,000, day 73, right? And so you can see we'll start ramping up this exponential curve. It will go into a linear progression in the middle as it slows down, and then it will taper off. Now this curve is called a logistics curve. So you can start making some accurate predictions here. So you can say, okay, that was yesterday, today. So we can say the first 1,000 people who have passed away from COVID-19 will be 23rd of April. 1,000 people. Then you could say the first 5,000 people. Let's say 10,000. 10,000 will be on the 15th of May. There'll be 1 million people affected by the 16th of May. Now this is just tracking the normal stats that we're getting elsewhere in the world, so it's nothing too dissimilar to that. And by that stage, even with the spread rate, so the typical do nothing spread rate is 0.2, I'm saying by then we'll have a spread rate of 0.09. It'll be a combination of this lockdown, and we're starting to kick in some crowd immunity over here, as 1.2% of the population has been affected and has some natural immunity. Now the number I'm really worried about is this number. So let's go over to this graph. So this is the number of, this is not even ICU beds, this is beds, hospital beds, 60,000 in Australia. So when we get to this point, there'll be no beds. There'll be no beds available for the people that are affected after this point. And this will happen around day 65, 67. You do not want you or your loved ones to need hospital attention, which is currently at 20% around this above this period. So I've marked it on this chart over here where the numbers go, this orange. So that will be 6th of May. We've hit capacity. And it will start climbing up for a long while before it starts dropping down again on the other side, which won't be until end of July at the current way we're going. And that's with a pretty strong 50%. So that means we're in strong lockdown at pretty strong. This is probably my most, out of all the variables, the most unknown one, what the effect of the social measures will be. And here you've got the crowd immunity. When it starts really cranking up to 30, 40, 50%, you have a massive reduction. You can see the spread rate drops down absolutely massively, but just by the sheer volume of people that have got it, there's still transmission, because sure, it's not very high, but based on the way it's transmitted. So death rate goes up massively as well and tapers off around the 500,000 in my current model. You can see it starts tapering off very slowly, so this will closely mirror what we're getting here. So first let me just show you, so this is the beds. So the zoom up on day 60, when it crosses this line about day 65, it'll be around here. So that's where we are, and it will shoot up, and this is the problem which the authorities are trying to avoid before it comes back down over here. And that'll be into this part of the curve where it'll be safe, and even though there'll be cases, it'll be back to normal because hospitals can cater for it. But I think they're trying to make several waves within here and flatten this right down, but the way it needs to be massive reduction in this number here, which I'm not sure how it'll pan out. Now going back to deaths, you can see that it's going to rapidly increase and then start tapering off. So you can see the number of new cases, new deaths will start dropping off massively. This is what we saw elsewhere, as in China started rapidly dropping off on the other side. So you can see here now there's not starting to be less and less difference between the number of deaths as it sort of trickles down towards half 500,000 people. This is what I'm worried about. And this is the numbers, what the data is telling at the moment. So even though the spread rate drops right down, people will still be affected. It's new cases. You can see here, this is the new cases for the day. It'll come back down the other side. So when the hospitals come available, you'll be 8,000 cases a day, 6,000 cases a day, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000. And I think once we're on this side, we can handle, if this happens in reality, we can handle this side because we'll have hospital beds again and the numbers are decreasing. But this is July 30, August. Anyway, this is what the data is saying at the moment. Hope you all stay safe and well.